Vaclav Smil, Global Catastrophes and Trends, the Next 50 Years. Dive into the world of catastrophes and global trends that could shape our future in the next 50 years with Vaclav Smil's Global Catastrophes and Trends, the Next 50 Years. This summary will help you explore the unpredictable nature of disasters, asymmetrical violence, the probability of transformational wars, and the potential impact of climate change on the world. Furthermore, it delves into the diverse effects of demographic and political trends on nations like China, Europe, Japan, India, Muslim nations, Russia, and the United States. Master the interplay of natural and human-caused catastrophes and understand their implications with crystal clarity.
Fatal discontinuities and predictable trends. Disruptive events that alter the course of human history can happen suddenly or gradually, with the latter being more predictable. Catastrophes, caused by both natural and human-made factors, pose significant risks to humanity. While some events fall within our predictability scope, others remain unpredictable, such as attacks by terrorist groups. The absence of a global leader could lead to chaotic fragmentation, endangering society's welfare and exacerbating environmental stressors. The statistical predictability of transformational wars, coupled with splintered approaches to major challenges, represents a looming threat to human progression. Scientific evidence suggests that rapid climatic events may occur in the future, with incalculable risks such as new deadly pathogens and mutated microorganisms. With a 100% probability of a serious pandemic outbreak in the next 50 years, it is crucial to adopt a rational mindset in our decision-making. Future global powers. A detailed analysis of the future prospects of global powers, including China, Europe, Japan, India, Muslim nations, Russia, and the United States, highlighting the likely challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The world is changing rapidly, with ongoing demographic and political trends having diverse effects in various regions. China is becoming an unequivocal global superpower, with foreign investment, mass migration to urban centers, and a large, successful manufacturing sector that is harming US and EU manufacturers. Demographers estimate that China will be able to match the US on defense spending by 2020. However, several trends may undermine China's growth to superpower status in the next half-century, including the one-child policy, which has resulted in a disproportionate number of boys, environmental degradation, and insufficient nutrition. Europe, with its burgeoning immigrant base, aging populations, decreasing fertility, and dwindling economic production, will likely never again be the global power it was in the 1900s. Europe's reliance on a shrinking population of young people to support a growing number of retirees will exacerbate its problems. People from Muslim countries are Europe's dominant immigrants, and their eventual assimilation or expansion will have significant implications. Japan's GDP is rising again, but it will probably not regain economic prominence due to its historical and cultural inflexibility and increasingly hostile relationships with China, South Korea, and North Korea. Japan also has an aging population and a fertility rate below the replacement level. India has serious social, environmental, and economic issues, including high illiteracy, low foreign investment, environmental degradation, widespread poverty, and ill health, all of which will play a part in keeping India from becoming the dominant world power. The Muslim world is politically fragmented, and the spread of Sharia law is precluding the emergence of democracy. Sharia's lack of modernization and its disdain for education perpetuate cycles of poverty and sectarianism. By 2025, 1 in every 7 people in Muslim countries will be an unmarried male in his early 20s or slightly younger, a demographic group that historically has been responsible for violent conflict. Russia's abundant energy resources and investments in scientific innovation make its future prospects look good, but its new wealth is not improving its people's quality of life, and the country's population is aging. The United States, which many historians believe has entered a post-hegemonic era, faces challenges from growing foreign debt, a trade deficit, an aging population, and an inadequate healthcare and pension system. Its reliance on other countries for industrial inputs and energy, particularly despotic nations, is also troubling. The U.S. education system trails the industrialized world, and its personal consumption rates are high while basic societal supports like pensions are underfunded. To reverse its retreat, the U.S. needs new policies, more frugal lifestyles, and a fresh urgency about protecting the rights of future generations. In a world without a superpower, emergencies and disasters could be responded to by the dangerous potential of fringe political agents. Balkanization could also increase instability, which is why it is crucial to ensure that the benefits of globalization are justly distributed. Currently, household incomes and the distribution of wealth within and among nations show little change in 50 years. Global environmental challenges. The world's dependence on fossil fuel, monocultural energy crops, and industrial practices is unsustainable and poses threats to critical ecosystems, biodiversity, and human health. Carbon dioxide and methane emissions contribute to global warming and rising sea levels, while alternative energy sources have yet to match the energy density of fossil fuels. Loss of biodiversity erodes ecosystems' resilience and threatens their economic utility. As we face environmental threats related to soil erosion, land scarcity, and water management, urgent action is needed to address the complex interlocking biological systems that sustain life on Earth. Antibiotic resistance and humanity's future. Antibiotic overuse, lack of research, and resistance pose a significant threat to humanity, with disastrous consequences if all antibiotics become ineffective. Meanwhile, preparing for much likelier threats such as war and pandemic or natural disasters should not take a back seat. The discovery of penicillin and other antibiotics in the 1940s has led to a significant increase in life expectancies. Unfortunately, bacterial strains have evolved to become resistant to these antibiotics due to the excessive and unnecessary use of these medications for minor infections and for livestock. Infections already rank as the second leading cause of death, and should all antibiotics lose their effectiveness, humanity will face disastrous consequences. To compound this worrying trend, pharmaceutical companies have not been involved enough in the research and development of new and effective antibiotics because they are not as profitable as drugs for daily use. This has resulted in a 40-year-plus gap in developing new drugs to combat tuberculosis in impoverished nations. Meanwhile, our obsession with being prepared against terrorist attacks is disproportionate to the actual likelihood of such an event, with statistically greater risks posed by more predictable threats such as war and pandemics. Nations mustn't take their eye off the ball and instead ensure they are well equipped to manage these likelier threats. The impact of antibiotic resistance and the potential loss of effective antibiotics pose an imminent threat to humanity's future. Awareness and action are necessary to avoid calamitous consequences.
Vaclav Smil's Global Catastrophes and Trends, The Next 50 Years offers a comprehensive outlook on the different challenges, catastrophes, and trends the world is facing and will likely continue to face in the coming decades. Understanding the risks of climate change, the fragility of ecosystems, and global political shifts is essential for adequately preparing for and addressing these pressing issues. The book emphasizes the interconnectedness of various global challenges, such as the spread of antibiotic resistance, threats to global biodiversity, and ongoing demographic and political changes. The conclusion highlights the importance of adopting rational attitudes and well-informed decisions to tackle these major challenges, and create a more stable, sustainable future for generations to come.